arise. The energy fill the skies.
Good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago. Now, we have been chatting with former Police Commissioner Gary Griffith, and he's also the political leader of the National Transformation Alliance. Now, we hear a lot about what's happening in preparation for this upcoming general election. We even hear here in Tobago, the political leader of the Tobago People's Party, Farley Augustine, saying that they're now screening candidates for that election. How are things going at the N.T.A in preparation for the next general election?
Well, we are up and running. I think we political party to commence the screening. As it is right now, we have confirmed three candidates. That is being myself, Gary Griffith, for the constituency of St. Joseph, Lieutenant Commander Norman Dindial for the constituency of Chaguanas East, and Dr. Kevin Saran for the constituency of San Fernando West. Usually, who wins San Fernando West and St. Joseph wins the election. It is as technical, tactical, and strategic as that. We have other persons who have been custodians, and very soon they will very well be appointed as candidates. That will be inclusive of very critical constituencies of Sama Barataria, Lopino, also Arima, La Hoquita Talparo, Sagre Grande, Tunapuna, and Moruga. So we know exactly what we are doing. We are going to put a lot of focus on the marginal constituencies. We also have custodian / future candidates for two of the three Diego Martin seats, one in Port of Spain, as well one in Point and other seats. So we have continued to do what we are doing. The interesting thing about it is that as soon as persons jump with that old song, that old road march, that as a third party you cannot win and you're going to split the votes. I've never heard anything in my life of a vote being split. To say that you're splitting the vote means that you're disrespecting that citizen by stating that you believe that vote belonged to somebody other than the PNM. It doesn't work that way. That is disrespect to the citizen. It is disrespect to persons who are under the age of 35 who never had a third choice since 2007 when the Congress of the People was there. It is disrespect to the Constitution and what it stands for. It is disrespect to democracy. So our job is to look for and to provide that degree of representation for those persons, whether you call us the knife and fork, the floating voters, the independent voters, the voters who are not PNM till they're dead, or are born at UNC and have die at UNC, which is the right of those 200,000 persons at both sides. But there are 100 to 150,000 persons that will always gravitate towards a third party because they're looking for a better option, not in any. And these are the two major political parties have done. The important part about this whole thing again is that what that bridge constituency, what that third party will do, always decides the outcome of the general election. That is fact. Whether you like it or not, whether you like Gary Griffith or not, that is irrelevant. In 1981, the ONR, they went on their own. They got 91,000 votes, and it caused the PNM to win by a larger margin. In 1986, the ONR joined with the ULF. It caused the annihilation of the PNM. In 1991, the N.T.A broke away on their own, split with the UNC. Kamala Prasad Visesa, by the way, was part of the N.T.A, where it caused the PNM to get back in government. 1995, Basil Pandit joined with A.N.R. Robinson's 2 seat to become prime minister. In 2001, Ramesh Maharaj got 188 votes in Tunapuna, 188, and it caused a 1961 to turn to an 1818 and caused a government to collapse and be removed because of one third party getting 188 votes. In 2007, the Congress of the People acquired 147,000 votes, and it caused the PNM to win 26 to 15. And in 2010, the Congress of the People joining with the UNC caused the annihilation of the PNM. End result, it is there. The UNC has never won an election on its own in a 3-horse race in 36 years. The only time they ever won was in 2000, and that lasted a few months, and that was because they did not have a third party. So in summary, what we do, how we operate is going to dictate the direction and the results of the upcoming general election.
Right, and the political landscape is shifting a bit. We're seeing persons entering, some persons re-entering, like the MP for Tobago, West Shamford Joe, indicating that she is putting herself forward for re-election. And we're seeing persons like Fitzgerald Hines saying that he is not going to be representing his community again in the upcoming election, and hearing members of his constituency saying that, well, they're happy because he was a bit out of touch. Now, the Prime Minister confirmed this last week in his press briefing that he would not be putting himself up for re-election, but he may continue to be around in the party. How are you feeling about his decision to step down?
Well, I've heard some people mention it was the end of an era. I don't think so. I think it was the end of an era. So it wasn't the end of an era, it was the end of an era, the end of the biggest era. I think Fitzgerald Hines, unfortunately, the most ineffective, the most incompetent minister in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. And it goes right back to the point with the SRC, with funding. You give individuals as members of parliament 50, 60, 70,000. Look, some of them, they are not qualified in anything as it pertains to the field that they're in. So you have persons who may be very well trained in energy, very well trained in national security, and you are
We'll have it.
and yeah, and so because of that, now these individuals get a salary with no qualification, no experience, no training, no track record in a ministry that you are supposed to govern with billions of dollars. And then on top of that, we are giving you an increase. So you are giving people an increase in pay without measuring their performance, making them accountable, ascertaining whether they have done. It is only in politics that happens. In the private sector, you can't get an increase because of the post that you hold. You get an increase based on how you have performed. And we don't see that. So unfortunately, persons like Fitzgerald Hines and others would continue. After Hines, there are going to be others who would not have the capability, the performance to lead anything. But they will be given a ministry. You know why? Because they were somebody who will be screaming on a platform, and you have to give them a seat. And by giving them a seat, you have to give them a ministry to make sure they across the floor. This is what affects politics in this country. What the N.T.A we intend to do, I do not want yes people. I do not want non-performers. I do not want persons who may just be loyal to Gary Griffith, that everything that I say you're going to agree to. That is why when you look at this person like Dr. Kevin Saran, one of the youngest surgeons that we have, probably one of the most popular persons in social media, someone who's articulate. When you look at him and compare to other candidates, when you look at Commander Norman Dindale, this is a man who actually has trained serving his country, going to other parts of the world to try to ensure democracy is restored. And you compare that to his competitors, myself as a previous Minister of National Security, Commissioner of Police, safe again. What we are going to do is to show the standard of the individuals. So people like Fitzgerald Hines will come and go, but other Hines are going to replace him. I think that is where political parties must start trying to find persons who are not yes people, but persons who have the capability, the confidence, the emotional intelligence, the education, and the charisma to be able to serve a country, respect citizens, and do what is required based on your not based on the party card you had in your back pocket. Fitzgerald Hines has benefited from it because of his party card, not because he ever had the capability to lead.
And do you think that persons are ready to shift the pattern of voting from the traditional or cultural means of voting for one of the two top parties and to begin voting for competent leadership?
It's not going to happen. The political leader of the PNM or UNC could go down and shoot persons in cold blood, and 200,000 persons will still try to justify it and vote for them. That is the norm. That is how people think. You could actually look at it even in the United States, where it is regardless of what, you're going to get 70 odd million persons on both sides, regardless of what the leader will do, they're still going to blindly vote for them, whether it's Republicans or Democrats. Trinidad and Tobago is no different. So this perception that we feel that people hate the PNM, it ain't going to happen. The PNM have already started with 200,000 votes in their bank. That's not going to move. Same thing with the UNC. Thankfully, that rich constituency, it continues to increase. As I said, it was 91,000 in 1981 with the ONR. It then moved to 127,000 in 1990. Prasad Bisesso was part of. It then moved to 147,000 in 2007 under the Congress of the People. So 17 years later, it may very well be more. But even if you put that in half, you take that 100,000 divided by 41, those 2,500 votes that we would get would always determine the outcome and the result of the general election. So unfortunately, we do not have proportional representation that will give us that degree of representation with our 100,000 to 150,000 independent voters. But what they decide, what you decide, those independent voters decides the outcome of the election. So I think that is more important than that base support.
Right, and we're going to take a break very soon. But before we get to the break, I want to ask you, what do you think are some of the pivotal topics or issues in this upcoming general election that are going to swing or sway the votes of the undecided voters?
Just two things. It's similar to the US election, national security and the economy. Those are the determining factors that the average person who is suffering, many persons in small business, they're fighting up, trying to struggle to make as much funds as possible to sell their business, to move out. If they see that there's a political leader or a political party that has the confidence and the ability and the political will to transform Trinidad and Tobago to make it safe again, if they have the ability to make the deciding that can transform our economy and make this a better place, that is what they're going to do. We are not going to see the major political parties try to be involved in a campaign like that, because when it pertains to national security, I will challenge any of the major debate with Gary Griffith as to what are your plans, your policies, your programs, your units, your technology that you intend to do to make Trinidad and Tobago safe again. They can't do it. As the Minister of National Security, it was the highest reduction in serious crime in 31 years. During my period at the not under the UNC, under Gary Griffith was the minister, because before that you didn't have that. Similar with my Commissioner of Police, it was the highest reduction in violent crime in 17 years. Public trust and confidence in the police service was 59%. National security concern, safety and security became the number 4 concern under my watch, behind health, education, and the economy. That is what the floating voters are going to look for. What is going to make it lessen the possibility of my daughter being kidnapped, my son being killed? That is what they're going to look at. And then obviously the economy. Are you going to find other situations for us to find income rather than just belt tightening and finding ways to increase taxes? If looking at policies, they're going to be looking at the people, they're going to be looking at ethics. That is the determining factor for that 100 to 150,000 floating voters. And that is where the National Transformation Alliance will provide that representation.
Excellent. We're going to take a quick break right here. We're going to be back right after this. We're going to be chatting a bit about a number of those police officers that we saw being arrested very recently. Guys, we're going to take a quick break and see you soon right after this.